Hello and welcome to a Royal Reviewer live pop-up chat. Hello and welcome wherever you are in the world. I really do enjoy doing these live pop-up chats. Now, I want to start this video. I want to start with an apology, actually. Yes, I want to start with an apology. And that is that I know not all of you can stand or want to listen to any more talk about Thomas Markle and that side of the family. I know, so I do apologise that I am making this video here today. So you have my full permission that if you do not want to hear about the Markles and the Thomas Markle interview, then you do not have to stay, because that's what this video is going to be about. So you have my full permission to leave if you want to. You do not have to stay and watch this video. I know that the whole Thomas Markle and the Markle rift can be divisive. I know that. In fact, I responded to one comment that wasn't a very nice comment, actually. It was quite an not a very pleasant comment, I have to say, on my previous live pop-up. You can go and view it. I'm sure you'll find out which one it is. I did respond to it. And basically, the commenter was saying, you're part of the problem too, because you are, perpetuating it all by talking about it. And my response was, I'll be very honest with you, my response was, well, yes, it's my choice to come and to tackle this subject. But I've got one of two options, and that is to say nothing, or to say what I've got to say about it. And I know that if I chose to say nothing about this whole subject, it would be everywhere. It would be in the newspapers being talked about. It would be on all of those fake news gossip channels being talked about. And I know that they don't report fairly, accurately, objectively, like I know I do. And I know that they do not stick to the facts. And they present opinion as fact and all the rest of it. And I thought to myself, do I want to be someone who just lets all that rumour and gossip be perpetuated? No, I don't. So I made the decision to talk about it openly, honestly, fairly, as accurately as I possibly can, because I don't want you guys to be confused with all the channels and all the gossip that gets put out there that is fake and incorrect. So yes, if you do not want to watch this video beyond this point, feel free to not watch it. That I am perfectly fine with that. I know that the whole subject is divisive. So, yesterday I brought you the news that Thomas Markle was going to give his latest interview to Piers Morgan and Susanna Reid on ITV's Good Morning Britain, abbreviated to GMB, obviously. And obviously this interview was happening on Monday the 17th of December, and it's apparently, I think, his first TV interview in about 6 months, and we'll get to that bit in a moment because he seems to think that that is quite profound. Now, I made 2 pages of notes as I was watching the interview, and so it kind of goes in chronological order, so I think we'll tackle it in chronological order. We'll do quite a deep analysis of it, I think. Well, as much as we can anyway. So I'm just going to find the chat room so that I can see all of you. Whoops, I think I need to mute myself, or else you'll hear double me. Oh no. You've already had enough of my singing. Although I think the Madonna song Frozen is quite appropriate to sing, actually. You're frozen. You only see what your eyes want to see. How can life be what you want it to be? You're frozen when your heart's not open. There you go. Quite appropriate words. Lady Buckingham says, but you need to set people straight, so go ahead and do your chats on whatever you want. Thank you so much. Okay. Sorry I haven't done all the hellos, but I want to get into it. So, the interviewers were Piers Morgan, who we know has a slight history with Meghan, and I know lots of you have your own opinions about Piers Morgan too, and Susanna Reid. So he confirmed in the interview that no contact has been made between himself and Meghan. I think probably since the actual wedding. He didn't say quite how far back, but I'm assuming they lost contact since he did the series of TMZ interviews. He said that he was disappointed and not sure why this was happening. Now, really? You're not sure why it's happening? I think I know why it's happening. I think she's lost complete trust in him. And I think that's just the main reason why, but we'll get into all of that a little bit more anyway. He said that he has reached out to her daily through texts and he has sent letters and he's had no response. And his words were that he's been ghosted. Obviously, ghosted means just completely ignored, cut out of her life. His message that he wanted to send out to her was that he loves her very, very much. And he'd like her to reach out to him. And he said, please reach out to me. And he also said that we are family. Thomas, where to begin? I am totally exasperated. When I looked at him, I saw someone who looked incredibly sad. I think he definitely looked sad, and I did think he was genuinely sad. But here's the but. I think he genuinely doesn't really know what he's done wrong. I really don't. He just seems completely oblivious. Like, he knew that doing the staged photographs was wrong, and he said he apologised. But the one thing he didn't touch on in the whole of the interview was the bit that I think is the bit that really broke the relationship down. And that is that whilst he was in his sickbed, recovering from his heart attack, and I know some of you think he didn't have one, but we'll park that issue there for a moment. Let's just assume that he did have a heart attack. From his hospital bed, he was giving a series daily, probably even every 6 hours. I think there was some kind of timescale given where he was giving interviews, talking to TMZ reporters. That's after the photograph. So even if Meghan forgave him completely for the photographs, which I'm sure she did initially, it was the fact that he carried on with the TMZ interviews. My goodness. He just didn't seem to even recognise that or even mention it. In fact, the interviewers, Piers Morgan and Susanna Reid, didn't even mention the ongoing things that he has done since. Now, he said, but I've been quiet for 6 months. And it hasn't worked. People are telling me that I need to keep it zipped. I mean, maybe he's seen my video, I don't know, but I have told him before. I've said, Thomas, keep it zipped. He said he's tried it for 6 months and it hasn't worked. 6 months? 6 months is nothing. You have really betrayed your daughter's trust. It is going to take more than a tokenistic 6 months to win her trust back. She needs to really, really trust you. And then what do? After 6 months, you go on national TV giving an interview, which is further going to compound the issue and the problem that you can't be trusted. It's an ongoing thing, and it may even take years for her to be able to trust you. You need to... Thomas, if you're watching, I don't think you are inherently a bad man. I don't think you have been a bad father to her when she was growing up. But since the whole series of photographs things that you took, you've totally played it wrong. Totally. And you just really don't get it, that you have really broken down that trust. That's why you're being ghosted. That's why the barriers have completely gone up or come down, whichever you want to look at it. You need to just keep it zipped for a very... Well, actually, I'm not even going to give a timescale. You need to keep it zipped for as long as it takes for Meghan to trust you again. And I cannot get that point out enough. And I'm not saying this to be horrible. I am not one of your worst critics out there. I'm just trying to help you. I don't want there to be a rift. I don't like rifts in families, and especially at Christmas. And to be honest, he did look very, very sad, very depleted, almost at his wit's end, like he didn't know what to do other than turn to the media. But the thing is, you found solace in the wrong thing. The media is not the place to turn. You can carry on sending texts, you can carry on sending letters. He confirmed that Doria isn't being an intermediary, which I think is a good thing for Doria. I think it's good for her to keep out of it. But trying to reach out to Meghan over Christmas in a kind of desperate attempt to get her to contact you is not the right thing to do. It is just going to further compound the whole problem. That's the bit that I get really exasperated about, because he doesn't seem to get it. Keep it zipped, and keep it zipped for as long as it takes. Seriously, that is what you need to do. Anyway, I digress. I'm going to carry on. So, the one thing I want to talk about a little bit is Piers. Now, we know that Piers had contact with Meghan years ago, before she met Harry on Twitter. They exchanged messages. They met up, and it was actually, I think, on that same night where they had drinks or a meal or something of that nature, where she went off to meet Harry at Soho House. Now, since that point, Piers says that she didn't contact him ever again, and that he ghosted her. And that's when, obviously, he made all the comments about her being a social climber, and that she drops people, and all that kind of business. So, I did get the overwhelming feel that there is a lot of bitterness from Piers Morgan to Meghan because she hasn't contacted him. Now, I suppose we have to look at why Meghan didn't contact him since she met Harry. Now, is it because, she didn't want to kind of be contacting other men? I know Piers is married, and he has a family with his wife. So I don't think, she was ever necessarily at risk of, him maybe coming on to her. I don't know. I don't really know what his intentions were, whether they were honourable or not. But maybe she felt that it was just inappropriate to be texting other guys, even if they're married, when she was dating somebody and when she was in the early stages of a new relationship. Some people are like that. Some people don't like to talk to, other people when they're going through the early stages of a relationship. So we don't know the real reasons as to why Meghan didn't speak to him ever again. But he seems to think, from his point of view, that it's because she's a social climber trying to use people, and then she drops people. Now, you can make up your own minds on that. I am not here to judge people on that, but those are the facts. That's what he says, and that is the situation that we know to be true. But like I say, the reasons why, I just think perhaps, my own opinion, it was probably just Meghan didn't want to be seen to be texting other men when she was in the early stages of the relationship, which I can agree with, and I think that's fair enough. And I think Piers needs to kind of get over that a little bit. Yeah, Piers, get over it. Come on, you can do it. You can get over it. A little bit of advice for you too. Now, Thomas Markle did say that Meghan is polite. Now, yesterday I did anticipate what he would be talking about. I did get it right. The main thrust of it was talking about all the negative fake news that's out there, and Thomas confirmed again that he didn't recognise that in Meghan. He said that she's always been polite, that she's always been she always what did he say? The words were she always runs things. It was something like that. What was it? I'm trying to think where I put it, because he said it a little bit later on in control. That was it. He said that she was always in control. Again, that kind of fits with what we know about her already. She likes to plan things. I always see her as being a bit of a planner, that she likes to know what's going on. Yeah, in control. And in control isn't a bad thing. But he definitely said that she's not rude. He doesn't recognise any rudeness. And she's always polite. And he said that she was brought up on film sets and taught to always respect the crew. So obviously that's like respecting your staff as well. So he doesn't think that it's true that she would be falling out with staff or being too overly demanding with them. So again, I believe that all of those stories that are out there are completely fake, and I do believe what Thomas says there, that she's polite and that he doesn't recognise any of those negative traits that the media are coming out with. I do believe that all of that is just to fit a negative narrative against Meghan. So, what else did he claim? Thomas claimed that Harry and Meghan believe what they read in the papers about him. And he said that he's only given 5 interviews and that some things have been taken out of context and some things have been entirely made up. He didn't quite say exactly which things he's talking about. I'll leave that up to you to decide. But he said that they are believing things that aren't true, that the media is reporting. I'm just saying what he said. And he reckons that that's why he's been ghosted. Because they think that he's saying things that he hasn't said. No, I just think it's the continuation of all these interviews in general. And definitely, I think from the early TMZ interviews from his hospital bed, I think that really was the last straw. And because he's kept on with the media, Meghan's never got the trust back. So what does he expect? Like I said, he said that he'd been quiet for 6 months. And he was confused by it. Now, I underlined confused by it because he did actually, to me, he did look generally confused. I actually really don't think it's sunk in. I really don't. I know some people think it's all contrived and that Samantha Markle is driving it all, but I think Thomas himself, I don't think he gets it. He really doesn't. I honestly believe he doesn't get it. And I've written down and underlined again, it's going to take longer to prove that you can be trusted. So he needs to take the time and just zip it. Keep it zipped. I think he was reaching out to her, definitely. And I think he feels quite desperate around Christmas time. It's the first year that he hasn't got a card. He confirmed he hasn't had a card. Meghan hasn't reached out to him. I think he's desperate. And I think that's one of the reasons why he turned to this interview to reach out to her. Because he knows that the likelihood is that, she'll watch it or somebody that is close to her will watch it and convey the message. I think he saw it as a last-ditch attempt. But again, it's incredibly misguided. It's not the form of communication that you need to turn to. You can never trust the media. Don't trust them. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because it will only come back to bite you on the bottom. And it will. It really will. He's turning to the wrong source. He should not be turning to the media. I'm sorry, but he really, really shouldn't. Like I said, he appeared desperate and at some point, at his wit's end. I really don't think he understood what he's doing and why Meghan is so upset with it. It really is a big betrayal. He spoke of the new baby Sussex, and he says that he hopes to see a little Meghan or Harry. Obviously see them in person. So he's hoping for a resolution between now and when the baby is born. I don't know if that's going to happen. But he is hoping that Meghan will reach out at some point and that maybe when she's had the baby she may change her mind. He also made a comment that she will make a great mother. Now, throughout this interview, he wasn't ever actually bad to her. I honestly, tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember anything that he said that was actually really negative about her, other than perhaps maybe that she likes to be in control, which could be taken in different ways. I take that as being a positive thing. Other people may take that as being a negative, but I didn't see anything bad. I mean, I said yesterday that he would either go on there being all guns blazing, or he would just be really apologetic and want reconciliation. And I think we have seen the latter approach, definitely. So yes, I think he is trying to make amends in his own way, which is still very, very misguided. I said he appeared sad and sorry. I'm sure some of you will be looking and thinking, no, he wasn't sorry. Again, you are entitled to your own opinions, but to me, he did look sorry and confused, very confused. Um, he was asked that if he could send a message to the Queen, what would it be? And he said that he would appreciate anything that she could do to help the situation. Again, I think that is playing into the narrative that we've seen over the last few days of, you know, that Sandringham is a good time to spend with the Queen to get some one-on-one time. Paul Burrell was saying that Meghan should, you know, use that time wisely when the Queen's playing cards to go and sit with the Queen, and the Queen, you know, can ask if everything's all right. I think it plays into that narrative, and I think that's why he was asked that question in the first place. They also spoke about all the negative stories in the press. Again, like I said, Thomas doesn't believe those stories. He says that she's not rude and that she's always been polite. Like I said earlier, he said that she has always learned to respect the crew and staff and people that she works with. I believe that. I do actually believe that of her. I don't believe that she's rude or any of that business. In control, yes, I can accept the in control, but I think being in control is good. We've already spoke about Piers saying about that she drops people and cuts people off, and that she's a social climber. So I don't think we need to really go into all of that again. Thomas was asked what he's doing on Christmas Day, and he said that he's giving out toys to neglected children along the border. So, and then he's going to spend time with family and friends. So that's what he's doing on Christmas Day. He said he would appreciate a phone call or a card. Well, maybe a bit too late to get a card over there, but maybe he could still hope for a phone call. I don't know. Although I think he's blown his chances again by doing this interview. He remains hopeful, and he thinks that she's doing well in the whole royal situation. He thinks that she's it's a big job to adapt, but he thinks that she's doing well. Again, you know, he wasn't being horrible to her. I think he was being quite supportive in that respect. Piers Morgan was trying to play peacemaker at the end, and we know that, you know, he's been talking about her for, well, ongoing, but he was trying to play the peacemaker towards the end. Again, think of that what you will. I'm sure you will have your own opinions about Piers Morgan playing the peacemaker in all of this. Yes. Thomas kind of finished by wishing everyone a happy Christmas, including Meghan. And that concludes my notes. So we're kind of no further forward other than that I think he just looks really confused, sad, sorry. I think the whole being ghosted thing is really getting to him. I genuinely believe he has no idea that carrying on with all these interviews is wrong. I really don't think he thinks it's wrong. It is wrong, and he thinks that 6 months is enough to heal deep mistrust that has formed between them, and he doesn't understand why. Thomas, keep it zipped. I'm trying to help you here. Keep this zipped for a very long time. Right. I'm going to read some comments. So I'm going to kind of go to the bottom and then scroll up a little bit. So Running Late says, I hope Thomas will find a happy resolve with Meghan. I hope so too. Maggie says, I'm sure he is sorry. He is, after all, her father, and he loves her. He is just an idiot. Strong words. Dion Nims laughing at Piers being a peacemaker. Well, that was kind of my thoughts initially as well. 7. Lily says, it felt so disingenuous to not recognise that it was his first interview on TV with Piers that caused the real breach. He was forgiven for the pat pictures. I agree that I think he was forgiven for the paparazzi pictures, but I think the real blow was the TMZ interviews from the sickbed. I mean, they were on like a hotline. That was just totally not on at all. Kathy G says, not too long ago, he was trashing the royal family. Stepford wives, her smile is not the same smile. He knows talking trash about Prince Harry. I have a long memory. Apparently his is short. Binky says, Meghan has no protection in the UK against harassment and stalking. The royal family has no power. In the US, she'd have sued everyone. Yeah, I mean, in the UK, we do not have that much of a suing culture, and particularly within the royal family, like I said before, if you start commenting on rumours and lies and all that kind of thing, it opens yourself up to more rumours and lies coming in just to get a response from you. So it is slightly different. And yes, you can watch the interview on YouTube. It's on the Good Morning Britain YouTube channel. So the full 18-minute interview is on there. So do go and watch it. I'm not going to put it obviously up on this channel because it belongs to Good Morning Britain and ITV. So do head on over to Good Morning Britain, watch the whole interview, make up your own opinions, and come back on this video and comment. You know, let me know. Do you think he looks a bit confused? I honestly think he looks really confused. I mean, to me, it's quite clear as day. You know, you've lost the trust of your daughter because you've been speaking out. And the only way that you can get that back is to zip it. It's really simple. It really is. Like, it's simple. You know, he's already said sorry. Now it's time to keep quiet. That's his next course of action. Christine says the Queen has better things to do than run interference for Thomas Markle. Cindy says, watch the interview, and I think Piers Morgan put the word ghosting in Thomas's mouth. I'm going to watch it again after watching you to check for sure. I think Thomas might have said it, possibly. But yes, we'll go back and check. Annette says he's trying to get public sympathy, but why oh why would he go on that show with that man? Piers will use the interview to make Meghan look heartless when she's only protecting herself and her family. Well, I think people can look at that interview and see it for what it is. U2B says no, she should not see he should not let him see the babies. He wants access so he can sell. Well, that's another reason why that trust needs to be built up, because she needs to know that if she did let him back into her life, that he wouldn't go selling all these stories. Misty says, we'll edit things to make what the star said false. Let's please not take what TMZ says. Well, I agree. I mean, you know, perhaps some of his things were twisted. Fabulous123 says, I agree. The press will eventually turn on Thomas Markle and Samantha Markle. They won't know what has hit them. The press are using them for now. They'll pay for their betrayal in the future. Good point. Really good point. Christine says she has to contact him. I just bet if she watched that, it made her cry. She knows this man. I think he was a good father prior to all this hoo-ha. But he's in a hole and he doesn't really know how to get out of it, and he's just kind of climbing up the sides and falling back down again. Mrs. Whoever Whatever says, you're too nice, the man is from Satan. My goodness. Strong words indeed. Well, you know me. I do like to see the positive side in everyone. I mean, I could never just take a negative view, because as with most things and most people, I don't think anyone is entirely inherently bad. Some people are, you know, those people who kill lots of people and that kind of thing. But, you know, normal people with normal, you know, issues that can have a resolution aren't inherently bad. And I don't think he is. And of course, you know, with my videos, I like to put all sides of the stories across, and I hope I've covered all the different sides, and we've kind of stuck to factual things that have actually been said. Deb Mac says, Thomas just needed Christmas money. Only reason he gave this interview. Another point. Mrs. Whoever Whatever says he has 5 other grandchildren. Why doesn't he care about them? We don't know that he doesn't. I don't think, do we? Has he spoken out about them? Pam G says, just got here, I will watch from the beginning. Please do, because it's quite a long video and we've had quite a lot to get through. Sally Spencer says, Hi Elliot and everyone. I take no notice of all the rubbish the media cooks up about Harry and Meghan. There is a lot going on. UTB says, please don't buy into this facade. Well, you say it's a facade. He did look sad and confused. I mean, just the fact that he said, but I was quiet for 6 months and it didn't work. That is not the words of someone who knows what they're doing. He doesn't know. I really don't think he knows. He should know, but I don't think he does. Just because someone should know doesn't stop the fact that I don't think he does. Candice Bavaria says it wasn't 6 months that he was quiet. Well, he said 6 months. Let me rephrase it. He said it was 6 months. Was it 3 months? No, I'm sure it was 6 months. I've got it written down somewhere. He definitely said... where was it? I had written down 6 months. Yeah, 6 months. I'm pretty sure he said 6 months. So I'm just trying to read through all my scroll that I was writing. Yeah, 6 months. So, you know, it needs to be a lot longer than that, totally. Always surprised as I watched the video, it was cringeworthy. Lisa says, don't let him manipulate me. He hasn't manipulated me. I have said entirely that he needs to keep it zipped. Keep it zipped. Margaret says, Royal Reviewer, we're family. Please keep a lookout for the positive articles that are being put out about Meghan. If we support them, maybe there will be more of them. There isn't terribly many of them at the moment. Definitely. Kvetchi says, what are the 2 badges on my jacket? They are Union Jacks with crowns. Can you see? If I just move a little bit closer. They're Union Jacks with crowns on them. And they're rhinestoney. Ava says it was 6 months since a live interview. Maybe he just made a comment in October about the baby news. There you go. Okay. That is it. That is basically all that there is to say on the whole matter. I do hope, in summary, that he doesn't make any more interviews. I really don't. Do I think that Meghan should reach out to him? Well, that is a matter to Meghan as to whether she wants to, well, whether she feels that she can trust him. And I think all of this ghosting is completely about trust. And whatever's gone on since the whole photograph scandal and the TMZ interviews, Thomas just needs to realise he's got to keep it zipped. He's got to keep it quiet. And if he doesn't, he runs the risk of, you know, there never being a reconciliation. He hopes for a reconciliation, and you know, he is in control of whether there is going to be a reconciliation or not. I don't think he realises it, but the one way that he can control it is to not say anything else. No more newspaper interviews, no more television interviews. When the baby's born, don't give any opinions on the baby. Keep it to yourself, because I am sure he will be asked by the media to comment. Don't comment, and try, for goodness sakes, to keep Samantha Markle zipped too. That's definitely going to help the whole situation. Mama Dozier says, poor Harry. So, there I conclude that, like I say, I think he just needs to keep quiet for a very long time, or as long as it takes for Meghan to come around. And then, you know, if she does let him back into her life, he needs to keep it zipped again. You know, it needs to be a continual thing, or else those barriers are going to come up and down again. So there we go. There's nothing else to really say on the whole thing. I've been through all what he said, and like I say, whether you choose to believe that or not is up to him, is up to you. So there we go. Hopefully I will be with you tomorrow or maybe the next day, with a new pop-up video, hopefully about something else. And if you've made it this far, well done. So please leave me your comments and your thoughts in the comment section below. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. And obviously hit the notification bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me in Shropshire, goodbye. Mwah. Spreading love to you all.